Ever find yourself stuck on a problem and you think, man, if I could just break this down into smaller steps?
Yeah, totally.
Well, that's kind of what OpenAI's O1 model is doing for AI. And from what I'm seeing in this research, it's a big deal.
It is. What's really interesting about O1 is how it tackles problems. Instead of just relying on speed, like older models, O1 uses this chain of thought reasoning.
Okay, chain of thought. That sounds almost human, doesn't it?
It really does. Imagine you're asking AI to do something complex, like write code for a robot's movements. Older AI models, they might have missed the subtleties, but O1, with this chain of thought, it's more like how we'd approach it. Breaks it down step by step, really thinking it through.
So it's not just about the answer, it's about getting there. That's a huge shift.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this doesn't just make O1 smarter, it also makes it much better at resisting those jailbreaks.
Yeah.
Those prompts meant to trick AI into going off the rails.
Right. So O1 is harder to fool. Why is that?
Because of that chain of thought thing.
Yeah.
It's always considering what might happen because of its actions, so those sneaky prompts. Much less effective. Like the difference between someone blindly following orders and someone actually thinking about the consequences.
Right. Makes sense. But honestly, even with all this talk about safety, doesn't all this reasoning power, I don't know, doesn't it worry you a little? Like opening Pandora's box?
It's a valid concern, yeah. It does make O1 safer in a lot of ways, but it does also come with new risks. OpenAI even admits this in their preparedness framework.
Preparedness framework. That
Yeah.
sounds serious. What is that exactly?
Basically, it's OpenAI's way of spotting and dealing with any potential issues with their AI. Think of it like risk management, but for super powerful AI. They're always analyzing threats, figuring out how bad they could be, and trying to stay one step ahead.
And how does O1 fare in this framework? How worried should we be?
Well, OpenAI, they've labeled O1 as a medium risk in some areas, like bioengineering, for example.
Bioengineering. Okay, now we're getting serious. What could go wrong there with O1?
It's not that O1 itself is made for bioengineering, but because it's so good at understanding complex stuff,
Yeah.
well, someone could take advantage of that. Worst case, someone using it to, say, design something dangerous.
That's a scary thought. But OpenAI knows about this, right? They're trying to stop it with their framework, staying vigilant.
Exactly. And it's not just about the obvious dangers, it's about expecting things we haven't even thought of yet. That's the challenge. And honestly, the exciting part of working with AI at this level.
A real balancing act. But let's switch gears a bit. Another thing about O1 is it can actually make persuasive arguments. Your research mentioned it even went up against real people in some tests. That's both cool and, gotta admit, a little unnerving.
Yell a little bit right. They actually did this study, use something called the Change My View Challenge. It's based on this Reddit forum. People post arguments, try to get others to change their minds. They basically had O1 go up against real people. Fascinating stuff.
So how'd it do? Was it like some master debater?
Not quite master level. But get this, it was really close to how humans argued. Not always better than the best human writers, but statistically, on par, which is still a big deal.
Wow. Not outsmarting us yet, but definitely catching up. I bet that's got some people nervous, especially in those fields where persuasion is key.
Oh, for sure. Makes you think, how do we even measure persuasion in AI? Is it just about logic? Or is there more to really changing someone's mind?
Yeah, will AI ever get those emotional nuances of a truly persuasive argument? Now, that would be something. But okay, we got to talk about the big what if with powerful AI. Can O1 go rogue? Like, develop a mind of its own and try to, take over the world?
Straight out of the sci-fi movies, right? Yeah. I wouldn't worry about stocking up on supplies just yet, but it's a good question. One of the things they look at is how well an AI does on these agentic tasks.
Agentic tasks. Okay, you're going to have to explain that one.
Basically, it's how well AI can act on its own to get something done in the real world. Like booking a flight, ordering a pizza, simple for us, but it needs to understand context, navigate systems, make decisions with incomplete info, all that.
So did they give O1 a credit card and see what happened?
Not exactly free reign on the internet, but they did give it these tasks in a controlled setting. And, this is the interesting part, O1, it understood the tasks, even planned them out, but actually doing them successfully, that was a different story. Big difference between getting the concept and pulling it off in the real world, I guess.
I guess that is kind of reassuring for now, though I'm sure they're working on closing that gap. But hey, let's talk about something a bit more upbeat. O1's multilingual capabilities are seriously impressive. Not just translations, but like real fluency.
Absolutely. They use this thing called the MMLU benchmark, Massive Multitask Language Understanding. had it professionally translated into 14 different languages.
No Google Translate shortcuts.
Nope, the real deal. Even for less common ones, like Yoruba. And get this, O1 beat out GPT-4o, its predecessor, across all 14 languages.
Wow, that's amazing. What does that kind of fluency mean for O1?
Think about it. Breaking language barriers in education, diplomacy, just everyday conversations. It could really change how we connect with each other.
It's exciting, but also a bit, a lot of responsibility comes with that kind of power, right?
For sure. And OpenAI knows that. As groundbreaking as it is, even this has the potential for misuse, they've said.
A real balancing act with O1. Amazing potential, but we've got to be careful too. This deep dive has been eye-opening. We've talked about so much: chain of thought, jailbreaks, the risks, how persuasive it is, and now this multilingual thing. It feels like this O1 is a turning point for AI. Not just getting better, but something completely new. But with all this, the good and the bad, where do we go from here? What's next for AI like O1?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Honestly. We don't know for sure, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. What O1 will become is happening right now with all the research development, even conversations like we're having.
So what can we do? How do we make sure AI like this turns out good?
We have to stay informed, engaged. The more we understand about AI, what it can do, what it can't do, that's how we'll make smart choices about it.
Makes sense. But it's not just for the experts, right? This affects everyone.
Exactly. This isn't just about tech anymore. It's about us, society. We need to be talking about this stuff, the ethics, the jobs, what it even means to be intelligent. Big questions.
A lot to think about, but O1 has shown us the future of AI. It's closer than we think. And if this deep dive has taught us anything, it's that the future is wide open. Exciting and maybe a little scary.
For sure. But if it ever seems overwhelming, just remember, even the smartest AI, it started with a single line of code, a single step. We're all figuring this out together, one step at a time.